Pakistan has spent decades telling the world that it stands with the people of Kashmir. But today, the biggest crisis isn't across the line of control. It is inside the territory that Pakistan itself administers. Pakistan-Occupied Kashmir, or POK, has witnessed large-scale protests, violent clashes, road blockades, and growing public anger. Reports of casualties, disputed elections, and demands for greater political rights have once again pushed the region into the global spotlight. But why are thousands of people protesting? Is this simply an election dispute? Or does it expose deeper political, economic, and governance problems inside Pakistan? And could these protests change the future of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir? In today's video, we will separate facts from speculation, examine the history behind the crisis, and explain why this story matters not only to Pakistan and India, but to the entire region. Let's begin. To understand today's unrest, we first need to understand what Pakistan-occupied Kashmir actually is. When British India was partitioned in 1947, the princely state of Jammu and Kashmir became one of the most disputed regions in the world. After the First Indo-Pakistan War, a United Nations-backed ceasefire divided the territory. India retained control over one part, while Pakistan took control of another. Pakistan calls its territory Azad Jammu and Kashmir, meaning Free Kashmir. India refers to the same territory as Pakistan-Occupied Kashmir, or POK, arguing that it is an integral part of India under illegal occupation. For nearly 8 decades, both countries have maintained their respective claims, making Kashmir one of the world's longest-running geopolitical disputes. But today's protests are not primarily about India versus Pakistan. They are about the people living inside Pakistan-administered Kashmir and their growing dissatisfaction with governance. The latest unrest intensified during the regional elections. Opposition parties and protest groups accused authorities of manipulating the political process, questioned the allocation of reserved assembly seats, and demanded greater transparency and accountability. The government rejected these allegations and defended the election process. However, the demonstrations continued to grow. Thousands gathered in different towns, roads were blocked, government offices faced protest. Security forces were deployed to restore order. Eventually, clashes broke out between protesters and police. Several people were killed and many others were injured. It is important to note that casualty figures and responsibility for the violence remain disputed, with government officials, opposition leaders, and independent media offering different accounts. This is common during fast-moving political crises, where verified information often takes time to emerge. But elections are only part of the story. Many analysts believe these protests reflect frustrations that have been building for years. The region has struggled with unemployment, rising living costs, limited industrial development, and concerns over governance. Several activist groups have demanded greater regional autonomy and more local control over political decisions. Others argue that ordinary citizens do not have enough influence over policies affecting their daily lives. These concerns extend beyond politics. Many residents have also expressed frustration over infrastructure, public services, electricity, healthcare, and employment opportunities. For many protesters, this is not about one election. It is about years of accumulated dissatisfaction. What makes this crisis particularly significant is its timing. Pakistan is already dealing with multiple domestic challenges. Its economy continues to face pressure from inflation, debt, and slow growth. Political polarization remains high after years of instability. Security concerns continue in several regions. Against this backdrop, unrest in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir creates another difficult challenge for Islamabad. For decades, Pakistan has consistently highlighted the situation in Indian-administered Jammu and Kashmir before international organizations. Now, however, international media attention is also focusing on political unrest inside the territory administered by Pakistan itself. This creates an uncomfortable diplomatic situation. Questions are now being raised about governance, political freedoms, public representation, and how authorities have handled the demonstrations. India has also responded strongly. New Delhi criticized Pakistani's handling of the protest and reiterated its long-standing position that the entire region legally belongs to India. As expected, Pakistan rejected India's criticism and accused New Delhi of politicizing the issue. This illustrates why the Kashmir dispute remains one of the most sensitive geopolitical issues in South Asia. Every development is viewed through completely different political lenses. That is also why it is important for viewers to rely on verified reporting instead of social media rumors or emotionally charged narratives. So, what could happen next? There are several possible scenarios. The first is dialogue. If authorities engage with protest leaders, opposition parties, and civil society, political reforms and confidence-building measures could gradually reduce tensions. The second scenario is continued confrontation. If both sides remain unwilling to compromise, protest could intensify, leading to more clashes, economic disruption, and greater international scrutiny. The third possibility is that these protests become part of a broader conversation about governance and political representation within Pakistan-administered territories. Whether meaningful reforms follow remains uncertain. History shows that unresolved political grievances rarely disappear on their own. They usually return in one form or another until underlying issues are addressed. Regardless of where one stands politically, one fact remains clear. Behind every geopolitical headline are ordinary families trying to build better lives. Political uncertainty affects businesses. It affects education. It affects investment. It affects employment. And most importantly, it affects millions of ordinary people who simply want peace, stability, and opportunity. The events unfolding in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir reminds us that geopolitical disputes are rarely just about borders. They are also about governance, trust, economic opportunity, and public confidence. Whether these protests lead to meaningful reforms or greater instability will depend on the decisions made over the coming weeks and months. This story is far from over. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button because it helps this video reach more people who want to understand world affairs beyond the headlines. Subscribe to @ManishSirG for in-depth videos on geopolitics, global economics, technology, business, and international relations. And let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe these protests will bring meaningful political change, or will they simply deepen the instability in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.